Here's a quick tutorial on how to prepare your graphics for vinyl wrap for covering Pareti mobile walls. This particular tutorial is going to show how vinyl graphics work with our standard walls that are not on casters. However, our walls with casters can also get vinyl graphics. And that part is basically the same process you'll see here. I do want to point out that the base of the rolling walls that holds the casters, those usually do not get a vinyl wrap, and that's because those lids need to come up so that the walls can be bolted together, and that access area is actually underneath the top lid of the base that the walls stand on. Be sure to have no critical images from the bottom of the wall to 4 inches up, because that's going to slide into the rolling base and you won't even see it. We're going to first of all make this image larger, because if you have a graphic that's bigger than the default canvas for Illustrator, you're going to run out of space. So I'm going to select everything here. Let's select all, and I'm going to select new, and I've already got this set up to 300 inches by 110. Raster effects usually default around 36 pixels per inch. I'm going to put 300 pixels per inch, and I'm going to make sure that my artboard is set to 1. I'm going to put create. This will give me a big artboard, which is probably a little bit too big, but the nice thing is I've got all this space now to work with, so you could make a huge, long running graphic. And I'm going to paste this here. I'm going to change this artboard to 48 and a half, 0.5 by 96. The reason I'm making it 48.5 is because our walls, if they're rolly walls, have an end cap that is 1/4 inch wide. And so you're going to need to account for that, because over a long span it's going to add a couple of inches. And so you want to be prepared for that. And then I'm just going to set this here. I'm going to probably manually set this because I've got these panels designated already in sizes. Now, the one thing I want to be sure of is that text is not going to get cut off. This is really close, but probably could move it over a little bit if your layout shows that, just a smidge, because it would be really nice to get a 1/2 inch here, and that looks closer to maybe 1/4 or less. So we will number these panels in our floor plan. We can send you the floor plan so that you know which pieces they are and how they occur. We can send you a 3D diagram too. That's really going to help your installation, so it makes things go together faster and you know where to coordinate the panels and where to place things. So I'm going to go ahead and save this panel, and I work from right to left. This way I can, I can move this border this way, and I know where my crop will be. So I am going to save that, and let's see, how many do I have here? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 panels. And I'm going to number this one 9 for this example, and I'm going to call it sample 9. And I'm going to save it as a PDF. Hit save. I'm going to make sure high quality print is suggested or selected. I'm going to make sure our bleeds are at 2 inches all around, and no trim marks, believe it or not. And then our compression is set to a minimum of 300 pixels per inch. I'm going to save this as Acrobat 8. And then it's going to think for me. And then when I go through, I'm going to, well, you could do one of two things. You could move everything over, but personally, I'm always paranoid about where that crop mark is going to be. So I find it easier to just move it from the right over and drag it over so that I am at 48 and a half. And because this is manually placed, you don't have to be precise in this measurement, because this is going to be shifted and moved around. They're not going to be just like regular printing where it's cut, with a, with the cutter and everything's on there. They're going to be, people when they apply this will look for that. We're going to save this next panel. This will be 8. I'm going to do the same thing over. I'm going to call it sample 8, and it'll be a PDF. And then I usually go through and check these because sometimes it'll reset like it did here. I put 2 inches around. The compression should be fine, and I'm going to reselect Adobe Acrobat 8, and we'll save this one. And you just repeat with each panel, and being mindful that we probably would want to scoot this over. The other thing I think we'll find is that this bleed is not adequate with this particular artwork. This is an old project we had. So let's take a look at our sample. Let's see, sample 8 is, I'm sorry, sample 9. I want to see. Okay, so with sample 9, this is the first one we did, and you can see, like as I thought, this is not enough room for the bleed, so we, or the bottom. So this image would actually need to be brought into Photoshop or wherever it was made, and then increase that size or clone it or whatever you have to do to make sure you have adequate bleed. And that's pretty much it. Then you'll have a nice high quality image. I know these images were lower resolution because of the way it was saved, but anything like this should be vector, just like your type should be vector. And for the other images that can be a high-res PDF, I think this person applied like a noise pattern to these to try to help bump up a low-resolution image. But otherwise, this would work.